You are now listening to the Young Black and Figuring It Out podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at YoungBlackFIO or on Facebook at Young Black and Figuring It Out. For all questions or inquiries, send your emails to ybfpodcast20@gmail.com. But if you really want to make a statement while showing your support, go to www.youngblackfio.com to purchase some merchandise. We truly appreciate your love and support. On behalf of the YBF team, thank you.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Herb.
And it's your girl Mo.
And welcome to our soon-to-be
world-renowned podcast, Young, Black, and Figuring It Out.
What up, though?
What it do?
Whatever we tell it. Get you every time.
I feel like the little Pillsbury Doughboy every time after that.
Man, I do remember that. Is Bro still around? Did he get canceled?
Who?
The Pillsbury Doughboy.
Why would he have gotten canceled?
I just ain't seen you.
Oh, I guess they went differently with marketing now. But commercials aren't what they used to be anyway.
But they used to be back in the day.
Yeah, have you not noticed? Like all these terrible
whack.
commercials that just keep repeating and repeating.
Yeah.
They're not creative. They're not fun. They're not entertaining.
That's true.
It's a drag.
Even in the Super Bowl, which is supposed to be the best commercials, it's like one or two that was tough. It wasn't good.
Every year, just a steep decline.
Man, that was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's okay. We'll keep it rolling. How you doing on this fine evening?
I'm good now. You got me stuck thinking about real good commercials from back in the day, but I'm like, let me try to move on.
Man, we should talk about that. I'm trying to think. Was there some real good commercials back in the
Mentos,
day?
the Fresh Maker, they were all so creative.
Were they?
What?
The ones that I used to like were like the Doritos always got good commercials.
Yeah. Back in the day. Skittles and Starburst have had the strangest and most uncomfortable commercials for years,
real?
and I don't like them. Have you ever seen the Taste of Rainbow? They things they be doing. It's like,
You know what's crazy? I actually don't see that many commercials like that anyway because I be on streaming.
Yeah, but streaming's coming back with commercials, especially if you don't want to pay those high prices.
But them prices is skyrocketing too. Like, what did we learn this week?
Basic me.
Yeah. Oh, you gonna stick with the commercials?
What? I'm going back to the 90s.
I'm paying the premium.
I'm not doing this.
Skip it on through. You know, cable lost. It used to be a thing. Remember, everybody was hyped like, "Yo, it's 500 channels," and then nobody realized like, "Yo, you can't watch it.
You can't watch
There's
all
nothing
of
to
that.
watch because it's too many options." Paralysis through analysis out here.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, y'all. You might be listening right now thinking, on that note, nah. But man, before we get to this amazing topic today, which is important, key and critical, all those things. What did we figure out this week?
What did I figure out? I feel like I've probably spoke on this before, but I think it's coming back now again in my life.
Resurfacing. Yeah.
It's like to be brutally honest does not need to be brutal.
Yeah, that's the theme.
Right? Like, I can be honest and I can be kind and I can be sensitive, but I don't have to like lie or be, something I'm not. Like I don't have to make things up or pretend when it comes to like serious or concerning things.
Yeah.
So I feel like, life, you ebb and you flow and you're connected with people and then you're disconnected and life just kind of moves as it moves. But when you have like uncomfortable or difficult conversations and things are presented to you and you're like, I don't know how to say, leave me alone. Or this is too much.
Word.
I feel overwhelmed. Like I don't think I'm a person that likes to be as forthright with my feelings to everybody. Like I am very particular and I am very private. So it's like, I don't like to give access to people when I don't necessarily feel like your intentions are pure or you have my best interests at heart.
Right.
So, like when people like try to question or ask questions or try to check in, and sometimes I'm just like, I don't have a problem with you, but I also prefer that this conversation doesn't happen. But you can't just say that, you hurt and I have in the past. Now, mind you, the Brooklyn born has easily said things to people when they come, and it's a vulnerable space, and they're talking to me, and they're like, but we've been friends for so long, and da-da-da. And I've looked at them and said, we were never friends. I'm basically saying, I don't even like you. And I never thought anything of it. And I'm watching people cry in front of me for saying this. I have grown since. That was at least a decade ago. So now I'm in a space where like I need to do the same things in kinder ways.
Still put up the boundaries, but
Yeah,
not
boundaries
as
are
brutal.
important. But you know, why
Yeah.
suffer and why lie? I don't need to do that. So yeah, to be
Did this come up? Like this is a. Are we going back to an actual situation?
I
Who the person? No, I'm playing.
he loves to do this to me, and I don't understand.
playing.
No, it's more like I think the way my anxiety plays is I think through situations that could occur before they happen.
Yeah.
So I'm always prepared for
Yeah.
like when this happens or if this happens, how you gonna do it? And I have to work through what is a kinder way to get this point across. You know,
Yeah.
that's all.
I hear that.
Thank you. It's like, have you gone in this situation? Has that come up for you?
Always, but you know that's just how life be. Like, let's go ahead and keep it a buck.
That is him. Oh gosh, am I turning into you?
Nah, sometimes though I do be honest, but sometimes I think I got to get there faster. Like, and also I would try to find ways to like save somebody a little bit too long if I feel like they worth it. Like once you get to that point, it's over. You know, I cut somebody off fast, but like I be waiting too long trying to save people and like maybe this and that. It's like nah, it's over. When it's a wrap, it's no maybe this and that, and maybe they'll come back. It's a wrap. So I'm with you. But you can do that, and you can put those boundaries. You can do those things without necessarily being like burning a bridge per se.
Right.
At least you ain't got to burn it. They might burn it because they feel a type of way.
Right.
But you ain't got to be the one that's like I'm gonna burn this to the ground.
I'm so big on being cordial.
Yeah.
You know, friendly but not friends. I love
Yeah.
that.
Like it's like the manifestation of the wave from a distance, and you keep walking.
Yes.
Like we don't gotta come up and greet and all that. It's like let me just wave. You there? I'm here, and we keep it pushing.
What happened to that?
That was my favorites,
Oh
yo.
my gosh.
Yo, it's like thank you.
The amount of people trying to force that into like
Thank you.
hey, and they're trying to chase after you almost. It's like we did the wave. Nothing more needs to occur.
The body movements, it's a lot. It was the arms, and you know I've been swimming recently, so I'm like, that shit. You ain't just freestyling.
First
If
of
y'all
all,
listen, if you listening and not watching, you got to get the video.
what
'cause
did I
she
do?
just-
I
she
didn't even
just
see
swam.
it. What do I look like?
You swam.
Mind you, I drown very easily.
Nah,
and he knows this.
Hey.
So why's he trying to trigger me?
I can swim now, by the way.
Are you gonna teach a girl?
Yeah, I got you. Well, I'm not teaching. I'm not at that level. My teacher is fire. Shout out to old girl in Vermont. She's tough.
Man, he knows I live like at least 30 miles across the state. Like
In
how am
Maine.
I gonna get to the
you
teacher?
crazy. All right, what did I forget this week? Let's get to the topic.
Our bad, y'all.
Yeah, so man, this week, hey, you know what? That the universe's time is gonna work out. Like again, I have been. This year's theme is the path of least resistance. It got spoke to me after I don't know what it is, but transitioning from a year like into years always put me in a reflective mood. I think it's because things slow down. You might travel to see family. It's like not as much pressure to do things because it's the holidays, so you get to reflect. So every year I've been taking that time, and the path of least resistance is my theme. And I was reading this book by Matthew McConaughey, Green Lights, and it also put me in that reflective mood. And he talked about like the idea about green lights is how do you set yourself up to like he called everybody wants green lights, right? Green lights are go, proceed, keep moving. Yellow lights are slow down, caution, and red is like stop.
Right.
Like, nobody wants the red lights. And it's like how do you set your life up to continue to hit the greens? And one of the things for me is like he said there's multiple ways to get to green lights. You can engineer it, right? You know what I mean? Like you can like force green lights, like will yourself to get there. Then another way is for you to like get more green lights by simply avoiding red lights and like flowing the path, right? It's like if you know, like all right, it's a red light there, red light here. I'm gonna change my speed because we've done that in real driving, where it's like I see it's a green light, I'm gonna speed up. Or if you slow down and wait for the light to turn to time it perfectly, also a way to catch some green lights. So I have found that my therapist was saying that like life has been about dominion or like dominance. You know, it's like doing the thing and like forcing that to happen.
Yeah.
But now it's like I'm trying to like flow.
Mm.
And a part of that is like timing will work out how timing works out. Or you do what you can and let the chips fall where they may.
Who
Feel
is
me?
he?
Yeah, I'm out here, y'all.
I feel like there was a time, possibly when we were recording, possibly 4 years ago, but whatever, when you would say things like, when you just kind of go with the current, you're like a dead fish or whatever.
The only thing that go with the flow is a dead fish.
And I'm like, now we're in a space where sometimes following the path that is before you, because it's leading you the right way, is an answer, and that's okay, because different times, different things, different seasons.
Yeah. So I thought about this because I actually specifically reflected on that, like in that saying, because I love that concept, and it's like, it's not that you're not moving, right? It's that you're just deciding to go with the current, because sometimes in life we choose, especially I think it's like Black and brown people, because struggle is a part of our identity.
Yes,
it makes us who we are. To go against the current, and it's like this badge of honor.
Just fighting it.
That I did that, and other people, and many times situations don't do that. They go and you get further. Imagine the current is going this way, and don't think of like a whitewater rafting and it's like about to thrash you, but it's like moving this way. Even if it's slower, if you swim with the current, you go so much faster and get so much further than if you go against the current. Yeah. And that's really what it is. So it's not like just stopping and let go and let God. It's like, no, bro, you got to do something. But you should go on the path that's like where it's headed. And that's really what it is. It's like, I don't have to like force the thing, So that just, today's conversation is an example of that.
Yeah, captain of the ship. I get that.
You feel what I'm saying? Like the conversation we just had off camera.
I was like, which conference? Yeah. We had a few.
About the stool and all that. The studio.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
That
is true. You did present this a few months ago, and I was like, that's a good idea.
And we ain't forced nothing.
And I was like, I wonder how this is going to play out.
And
it's pretty much my response.
The universe.
And here we are.
Yeah. All that to say, y'all, path of least resistance. The universe time is going to be on that. So, yeah,
I support that.
Yeah. All right, listen, we're here to talk to you about some
very important.
Hey, this sounds like a confession.
Oh, here, I want to start singing Usher. Go on.
Do it.
No.
Nah.
Now that the pressure is here, the vocals won't be,
Dang, I forgot how to start off, but it's okay.
This is my.
Yes. Yeah. Remember that chick on part 1? Yeah, I told y'all. All right, y'all. So listen. Today last time we had a great guest. Shout out to Kevin Beckford, who helped us in this conversation around the money mindset, right? And then since then, a lot has happened, and we've taken that advice. And there's been other people who've given us great advice and just good strategies on money. So from last year, the time we did that to now, a lot of growth. And so now we want to bring it back to this idea of home ownership. And that's a huge thing. And we've both been having conversations about that and getting good advice and like dabbling in different ways. I personally now have a home and looking at my second one that's coming through a different means. And so like that concept is such an important thing, because the number one actual gauge when it comes to wealth and the community's wealth that you can see causation and correlation is home ownership. Like the communities that own homes, if you get the data, are connected to the ones with wealth, because that is a wealth investment.
Right.
And it might not be, and it can be though, but it might not be in this generation, but definitely in future generations.
Right.
But even in this one, like there's people who have bought homes, sat on it for 10 years and rich. If you was in Detroit, listen, this is real talk. In Detroit in 2008, now I was too young, y'all, before I came to Vermont. In Detroit in 2008 to 2014, this is no joke. There were times where you could buy homes for like $500.
Wow.
That's not an exaggeration. Like literally $500. Sometimes less than, that's not an exaggeration.
My goodness.
And that's when the crash happened.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
But of course, I was very young at that time, so I didn't really know what was going on.
And nobody
and I
knows
wasn't working,
happening.
so it wasn't like affecting me in the same way.
$500 back then was like, oh no, it's over.
Yeah, that wasn't even in my bank account. I was a child.
It's like, yeah, it's a wrap. But no, we're getting into all that. Let me not start getting on the tangent. But you could buy it for $500. But them people who went, it's some people who was like, the market's crashing,
Right.
I'm investing.
They pouncing. They know what to do.
And they got like 20 homes.
Mm-hmm.
Them folks, if they waited to post, they could have sold at any point in time.
Yes.
It's been back up. But if you waited post-COVID, you walked away with a bag.
Mm-hmm.
A bag.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
What?
Dang.
Come on.
$100 for a whole home. That's crazy.
Now that's legit. 500 to like less than 5,000. It was like legit homes.
My Lord.
In neighborhoods that like people had vision because they revitalized the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So they'll get it because, you know, when the crash happened, Detroit got hit hard because the automotive industry.
True.
And a lot of the jobs that got lost with those type of roles. And so you would get neighborhoods. Like it was at one point in time, like 2019, it was 40,000 vacant homes in Detroit.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. 40,000 homes is a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, like people was buying those and sitting on them. The neighborhood getting revitalized. That house that was worth, you bought it for $1,500 because it wasn't worth nothing. Now it's worth 80, 90, 100,000. You done that 20 times?
Right.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Anyway, all right. Let's talk about what's been going on though.
Like in recent years when it comes to housing.
Yeah, you want to talk about some of these things that you've been seeing?
Are we doing the comparison of what it used to be versus what it is now?
Yeah, like, okay, so let's go way back. We talk about home ownership and how we got to why this is a wealth strategy. And before we even got to what's happening in, you know, in Detroit and other places, where do we start, B?
Like, I mean, if we're going to go back, let's say to the 90s when I think a good amount of us and listeners were around. If not,
Yeah,
like
back
your
in the
parents
90s.
at least were, right?
Yeah, somebody was alive back then.
It's like, so home prices were so much lower back in them 1990s, and we talking like 79 grand, which is so beautiful in comparison
Like
to
the median home price?
Yeah, because now we're talking 400,000 grand. So comparatively,
I know.
it was affordable.
I know.
What would you imagine?
I know.
And so I don't know if people know about mortgage interest rates. So pretty much, you know, the interest that is onto your home, how much you will have to start paying every month.
On the loan.
On the loan, right. Unless you bought that cash and you just
Balling like that.
You
know what
just
I'm
got a
saying?
whole
You just
home and
cashed
you
it out.
paid
Or
no
it was
mortgage.
$500 and you just bought the whole thing.
right. So in the 90s, it was 7 to 9%. And now it dropped at some point. I want to say right before the pandemic, it was around like 4%.
Yeah.
And then now it's back up to between 6 to 7%. So interest rates are not terrible right now.
But it's interest rates on not 79,000. It's
Right.
interest rates on 400,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And from what I see this year, it will drop, but it probably won't be too low. Like it
What
ain't
it
gonna get to that
was.
4 again.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
We already know about wages. So back then, a middle class family could afford
Yeah.
a home.
Yeah.
That was no qualm. They had no issues. Now you need to link with anybody who is on the same level or the same mindset. You gotta need multiple like side hustles, all kinds of finances to afford a home. Because 400,000, I think the regular down payment would be 20%.
Oh, yeah.
And how much is 20%
Yeah.
of 400,000?
Sure. Where's the distinguished colleague at? But,
And that's just the
that's
median.
80. That's 80.
You tell me you need the equivalent of what you could have bought in the 90s
Yeah.
as a down payment for the house now.
All right.
This is how far we've come, y'all.
Yeah. Like, you know, stuff is moving with the. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think there was a whole mindset of renting is just wasting money that people have believed and buying is the way to go. But now with the way that costs are and inflation and everything, I don't know if that's the truth.
We're going to talk about that later too. Because it's two schools,
Of
thought around that. Yeah.
So I think if you're hearing that from people who were really thriving in the 90s, that's probably where it's coming from. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Oh, we ain't where I want to go.
What you doing? That's it? You done? You just going to drop the mic right there? He just quit. He
I
just
want to
quit.
go. I was like, oh, we can talk about that soon, but not now.
Nah. Yeah, so let's talk about that. Like, so there's a couple of things that you had mentioned before. So, like, housing prices back in the day, in the 90s, the median being 79,000,
Good
now
times.
being 400,000. So let's think about that, right? So if you bought a house, say you was 21,
Yeah.
you bought a house in 1990, right? Now we 30 years later? And it's 400,000, right? So you 50 and you bought a crib. that house right there that you bought for 80,000, not 400, like that's the whole concept behind. And it's probably been 400,000 for the last 5 to 7 years. The market, up and down and whatnot,
Right.
but like that's the concept, is that you basically sitting on the piggy bank when you got a house, right? Because you can cash out on it, especially if you pay it off.
Right.
So like that's the idea of like a wealth investment, and that's why it's considered an asset by many people, is because you get it, and now you can, like, if you keep the house 30 years, now you can flip it, right? To get cash if you ever need that. You know what I'm saying?
What a beautiful thing.
Now, the other thing, too, with the housing prices, like the middle class being less and less, so folks, like, you either like have it or don't, is really what it is. Is that, what you think about people that, like, opting to live together, and not even like couples, like groups or teams of people being like, hey,
It's smart.
let's be roommates.
It's smart. I mean, especially if you are both working and can't afford to pay for the things within the house as well as the mortgage. It's so intelligent because you're saving money that way. It's like, I don't know what a mortgage might be nowadays, like $1,300 or whatever, depending on the house or whatever. But like, you split that 2, 3, 4 ways. That's so much less money that you have to spend, so you can save and put toward other things.
Absolutely.
It's like, I support it if you got some good people around you.
Yeah, you share all costs. The only thing is like, it's the ownership becomes a thing, like who owns what,
Right.
and parts of that and whatnot.
Now, I mean, I would not say that that's a smart move if you are making this your forever home and you're trying to raise a family in there. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But like, if you're going to use it for a specific purpose,
Catapult.
to then, when it's time to sell, you guys can split that money evenly, and then you both are on a come up.
Yeah, we might go in with a plan like, hey, yo, listen, it's 4 of us. This is, instead of like one of us paying $1,000, like each was gonna pay, the 200,
Right.
225, and then now we got it, like,
Right.
and then we can split the cost and do that for 4 or 5 years, and then you out.
Right.
I think that's not a bad idea.
Nah.
Like,
and
people
use it for the down payment for your new spot, if you want.
Right.
I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh.
Now, the other thing that I've seen happening with folks is like, there's 2 schools of thoughts around buying. Buying versus renting. Now there's a very different concept. And the people who I wanted to like channel around this are John Hope Bryant. So folks don't know John Hope Bryant. John Hope Bryant is, you're not familiar with bro either?
No, I'm like,
I'm
whose
about to
name is this?
Put you on, my man's. Okay. So John Hope Bryant, I just tell you what I know him from. So he is, I got put on to him he did a episode on the Breakfast Club.
Okay.
And he wrote a book called Financial Literacy for All.
Okay.
And he's a black man. Like he has a not-for-profit called Operation Hope, where they do like financial education. But what really struck me was he showed like the connection between credit scores and wealth. And he showed like, if you take a credit score, if you look at the what's it called? Life expectancy. This was crazy, y'all. If you look at the life expectancy across the country and like see the maps where like life expectancy is lower, and then you map it to credit score, they're like identical. It's like 100%, because like that idea of wealth being connected to life expectancy. It's crazy. So we went through that, and he was also talking about home ownership. And he said there's a lot of people who've been saying what we had just mentioned, like, don't buy a home. And he's like, that is one of the, like, if you are perpetually renting, you are renting poverty, essentially, because you're not putting money into anything. And he said the number one thing for the middle class or working class is home ownership, because of what you can do with a home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then, so that's like the first school of thought. The second school of thought is from this guy called Grant Cardone.
No, I don't know that.
Grant Cardone is now he's wealthy. He's an intelligent investor, and he's anti-home ownership, pro-renting and investing. So his thought is, he said home ownership, his exact words, the biggest scam in America.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So why he thinks renting is better is, he's like, a house, it puts you into 30-year debt. And you are like, it's not bringing you any income. So if you have the home,
right,
and you're like paying the home off, you never get any of the asset. And then you wait 30 years after you got it at 30, now you're 60.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, you paid it off, but you done never got any money from that.
Yeah.
And it's like, then, like, what will you do? Like, you own that home, but you gonna sell it? How are you gonna get revenue from it?
You know, depending on your mood for the day, both schools of thoughts make sense to me.
That's what I'm saying. So, but he's also like, well, you could take the money that you would have that from buying a home and invest it in like some type of rental opportunity, something that's going to get you money back.
Right.
So what you think about that? I see you liking the second one. I saw your eyes light up.
I
Like,
feel
get
terrible
out
to
of there.
say because I think there is truly good points on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you do not have a plan for the purpose of the home, then you might feel the pain. You know what I'm saying? So like people will say buy a house, it brings you that wealth. But if there's no understanding of how to get that wealth, like he's saying, like you're just sitting on the house and you paid it off, it's like where's the wealth? What money do you mean? And then because everyone that buys a house doesn't always know how to take care of one, it's like you don't realize all these costs that may come out depending on what's needed. So do you need a new roof? Like, will your boiler break down? Like, what are these costs that are coming out of pocket?
Yeah.
Because you have to cover that. You have to take care of that. Anything that breaks in your home, you have to fix yourself. Yeah. So can you afford that also on top of your mortgage every month, on top of your gas and electric, like, that depends. Everyone doesn't have it like that. Do you have a family? Are you the only one working? All those costs kind of come into play. And then at the same time, if you buy homes and and you have a plan, or you have like a cushion, or you already have the understanding that these things are things, and maybe you have 2 people working, you can afford it. You have like a whole budget for it. There's a whole bank account with mad money that takes care of those big purchases or those big upgrades. It really, I think, depends on the person.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that. So, all right, future state, 3 years from now, and right now you can make a choice.
Yeah.
And it's like, what decision would you make for, like, this is you. Like, what decision would you make for 3 years out, and what would you make for 10 years out?
Hear me out.
Somebody start off like that, you know what's coming. This is about to be some bull. You know what? Go ahead.
I was raised in a home, right?
Talk to me.
And again, this was during the 90s. So, but my mom was very big on stating that you buy a home. That is the way toward who knows what. I don't know if that sentence ever finished, but it just always was in my brain of, the best thing you can do is buy a home.
Sure.
So now with this question posed to me, I know the end goal would be to buy a home, right?
Right.
So the 3-year plan would likely be I should probably rent and save and get myself educated to understand what I need to do to not only buy this home, but that's at $400,000.
Yeah.
Like, where do I get this down payment from? And then how do I save or keep to have for those big things that might fall or break?
Yeah.
Like, where are those? I think that would make sense. So for the 3 years, rent and learn.
Yeah.
And then for those 10 years, be in a home and, pretty much figure it out.
Right. So, right. So for me, and this is what I think. So we trying to go money mindset, not just, I'll give my opinion. Because now being a homeowner and potentially getting another one coming through, and I speak openly about this. So like my grandma and granddad, I don't know when they bought this house, but they bought a house in somewhere that's like lucrative. It wasn't necessarily lucrative then, but it came up now, right? And so actually the home that I bought in Detroit, so I bought a home in the city, put my people in there. It's Detroit big, so y'all can't. I'm gonna say, ain't put no addresses out there. It's way out there, y'all. Y'all ain't gonna find it. I'm gonna find you. So I'm gonna keep it straight up with you. So I put my people in it. My grandma and my granddad passed in 2010. Amazing man, legend. His genes definitely in me because they called me the encyclopedia, genius. So I appreciate him. The crib paid off. So now the way they setting it up is like that's going to the family. Now when they bought it versus what that crib worth now, it's like 20x.
Right.
And so like for them, and if something ever like if that crib ever make any income, because I'm overseeing it, I'm just keeping it real with you. I get to take that money and have it invest in her lifestyle right now. Or say something happened and somebody like we cared about had like a crazy expensive medical bill and didn't have insurance, like we could flip the house. Or if like something happened and somebody in the family went homeless, that they can go live in the crib. Like
Yeah.
it was good for the long run.
Right.
But like, so that's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you think about generational wealth. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why, like, for me, the Grant Cardone, like, I hear you, but that's like very individualistic.
Mm-hmm.
If we talking about like generational and communal and community wealth,
Right.
because I don't even know this, but if I look it up right now and I saw the demographics of who rented and who didn't, I'm gonna tell you that it's gonna be folks below a certain wage threshold, and because of systemic poverty connected to racism, it's gonna be black folks.
Of course.
I can tell you that right now.
Of course, which that's exactly
John Hope Bryant comments. He like, bro, get out of the cycle, bro.
because I think culturally is different.
Yes.
And Grant ain't thinking. Well, I mean, he don't sound like he's for us, so
Right. And I don't know his background, but I can assure you right now, because he's white and wealthy, and I don't know his background, but he's talking to people who are in a different category than who we talking to.
Right. And John makes sense because he's not just saying to do this; he's also providing the education for it.
Yeah, he coming out of Oakland. He coming out the trenches too, so he see what's going on. So that's my thought process. Is like it's long term. Now, I do understand it though. It's like you paying that house. I remember I was saying that for a minute. I'm like, you paying this house? No, you're making no money off it. So unless you got an Airbnb, you got a duplex. That's a house hack.
Yeah.
You got a duplex. You live on one side, rent the other side. You win and you get the bust of both worlds.
Right. Which, if you talk to anyone who's also doing it, that comes with its own stressors as well. So just got to put the caveat out there. Don't just be running through stuff. Depending on the tenant, whether they pay or not.
Oh yeah, being a
and
landlord
depending
is
on
tough.
where you live.
Yeah.
Some tenants got tenants' rights, and then they just be squatting and they
Yeah.
don't pay. Things like that. So it could come with its own stressors. Or then some people don't want to get kicked out for whatever reason, and they may damage the property. So just
that's a fact.
I ain't trying to ever tell nobody just run and do this, but always be aware.
Yeah.
Cognizant.
Especially depending on where you live. Like your city matters and the state matters, because some places are more like very landlord friendly in terms of like the laws and regulations, and some are very like tenant friendly. And so you got to be cognizant, because some things like people squat, they got like squatters' rights.
Yes.
And there's nothing you can do in a lot of places. Like, and sometimes, I would say more often than not, landlords are juicing and manipulating and getting over on tenants in the reverse. So
I've only seen one example of a guy who kept his prices the same every year in his I think he had like apartments or whatever for people, because he's like, if I have a good tenant, why would I try to drive them out? Right. I'm getting this consistent money, so I don't change the price as long as they want to stay here. And then when they eventually do, he can up it to whatever, and that stays consistent until that person, but those people are so rare and few and far between as a landlord. But yeah,
and depending on like your profit, like the margin too, because like your costs going up,
right?
But then you know what I'm saying, I gotta tax you. Yeah, so it's good. It's all connected back to capitalism, and that's the world we live in. I'm a capitalist.
I'm aware.
I'm
you
keeping
said
it
it on
with
here.
you. Yeah, I'm a capitalist, yo. Like that. What other way? The other things. Let me not get on my soapbox. It was just like, yeah, we can do this altruistic and then anyway. So, but let's go back to some of these strategies though.
Yeah.
Oh, but so with that in mind, John Hope, Grant Cardone, is, again, going back to that, I do think I'm leaning more towards John Hope Bryant, because there's also strategy. Here's one thing. Housing markets is like the stock sometimes. The rate's going to go up, prices going to go up. But for most part, you buy a house now, 10 years later, it's worth more. The other thing is you can play with things. If like you bought a crib, say you bought a crib in 2017, 2016, 2015, and you waited to the other side of COVID, that house is going to go from you buying it at $80,000 to it being worth now like $200,000.
Right.
Some things you can do with that. You can take that and get a home equity line of credit. That's your money to go mess around and play around and be able to like invest into your crib to make it worth more when you sell it. You can take that and refinance. Right? You refinance the crib and say, all right, I bought it at 80, I paid 20, so now it's like I got 60 left on this loan, and now it's worth 200. I got 60 left on the loan. I could put out $140,000. And that could be my cheese, or I can go ahead and invest into the crib.
Right.
But you can't do that if you don't own it.
Right.
And so that like those are things that's how the rich navigate. And then when you sell a crib, there's something I forgot the name of the tax. But basically it's called you don't pay capital gains. So if you sell a crib and you got to pay taxes on it. If you use that money to buy another crib, like I forgot the term they use, right? But you go up to the next crib, you can walk. You can help me out with that? Thank you.
What are you
If you buy a home and you take the gains from that and then buy another crib so you don't pay taxes, what's that called?
Okay.
Thank you. I let my man's Google that. We'll come back. Yeah, I like this. Shout out to the producer. Shout out to her. But
yeah,
keep going.
That makes perfect sense because now you have a strategy with it, right? So I'm leaning on John, which is surprising because as he started, Grant was making a lot of sense.
He is though. It do make sense. It's like what you want.
But like culturally and thinking of us as a people and knowing that like where we went to school in that area, the redliner was redlining. They have actively went out of their way to put it in the guidelines that you do not sell homes to black people. And I'm like, I can't live like that. That is not okay. So if you're telling me you're going to actively go out of your way to do that, that tells me that we should be owning homes. You know what I'm saying? So like, all right, John. And you're trying to provide education because that's what we're missing.
Yeah.
That's what's been lacking.
Yeah.
I believe the tax that it is called the capital gains tax.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Capital gains
You
tax.
were on it.
Okay, I was on it. All right, bet.
The
Good luck.
capitalists do what he was talking about.
It was just embedded in me. Yes. Okay. Shout out to Wok. Thank you, Wok. But yeah, you're right. Now, redlining, we probably talked about this at some point in time.
We have, yeah.
But just so we all know, redlining is a practice where literally state and local governments had red lines. And what they do is they would not give any lending. They had regulations that had the housing. So it's both federal, state, local, and private organizations that gave lending to lenders, or the borrowers, I'm sorry. And they literally had red lines for areas where they would not give any lending to. And they literally drew red lines on a map around that to outline those spaces. Now, what were the demographics of most of the people who were in those spaces?
Black and brown.
Black and brown. And also, this is the other thing, poor white neighborhoods. Let's not forget, because a lot of times they try to put us against one another.
Right.
But it's like, that's why MLK was talking it, poor white neighborhoods. And you know how those neighborhoods look today? Those are still the neighborhoods that are navigating poverty.
Because these things have generational effects.
Wow.
And they last, hence.
That's why we got to buy.
John is right. I'm with it.
Yes, but that individual strategy of Grant Cardone is not, he on point with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like if you are just doing without the education background or understanding what you're doing with it, you can end up feeling like you're in this hole, or you end up in an actual hole not knowing what to do. That is true. And that's when you see like homes foreclosed on and all kinds of things, and the bank will just take it back. So I am a big pusher of, if we're going to do something, we got to know what we're doing and do it right.
Yep.
You know, I'm like, that's what we as a people.
Yeah.
We breathe.
Now, it's this other thing a lot of folks do. So a lot of, you said it earlier, the
Yeah.
barrier a lot of the time. So for me, when my first time I was going to buy a home in Vermont, before I bought the home for my people in Detroit, was a little while ago. And the major barrier for me was the down payment. Like, oh, these homes is like, Vermont expensive.
Yeah.
It's like $300,000, $400,000. So I'm like, all right, 20% on $300,000-$400. I ain't got that at the time, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm lying. But it's like, I ain't got that.
I can't even look at you.
It's like, hey, listen, now,
Why is he like
now I can go back. No, okay. But so I'm like, oh, it's a wrap.
Right.
So I had to wait it out. You know what I'm saying? But I also I didn't have the knowledge back then that I have now around, there's multiple programs that folks can navigate. Yeah, you want to talk about some of these programs for first-time home buyers to navigate that down payment.
Oh, first-time home buyers are stepping it up.
Shout out to our distinguished colleagues.
Because I remember a few years ago, a friend of mine was doing it, and it was just so limited in the area we were in, where there was like one or two banks or credit unions that was actually doing it. Yeah. And I was like, that's terrible. But it's also, it wasn't publicized easily either. Anyway, there's the FHA loans that require as low as like 3.5% down instead of 20% when you are closing.
Fire.
Right? And then they have like flexible credit requirements. There are VA loans for our veterans. Shout out to our veterans. Okay.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there. And they can put down 0% with no private mortgage insurance. which those are terms I don't know about, but we can Google.
Oh, PMI.
the PMI.
That goes into your entire package of what you're paying. Like if you do like so you got your mortgage, you got the escrow in there, and then the PMI, especially if you do a FHA loan, they had that insurance in there just in case you like don't pay it.
Pretty much if you try to dip on it.
Yeah, you try to dip on it.
Oh, so that VA loan is looking good. So shout out any veteran out there.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a home, they exist.
Yeah.
USDA loans, and those are for rural areas.
Yeah.
So, more farmlands, like where there's a lot of open space.
Yeah, a lot of those places.
Wheat. Anyway, that's 0% down as well for eligible buyers in suburban and rural locations.
Yeah.
No urban. Interesting. And then there's the state and local first-time buyers programs that many states offer down payment assistance and tax credits.
Yeah.
So these things exist.
Yeah, and the cities sometimes do that too. There's one place I heard about way up where I ain't gonna say where it is. They do something like they literally do down payment assistance for folks under a certain income, folks in a certain demographic. They do a lot of stuff.
Right. And then some employers, like depending on where you work, check with your employers because they also do programs sometimes. Yeah. And some of them will have it specifically for a certain area. So it might be in the city, but if you're looking to buy, they will help you. Yeah. So, there are things out there that exist.
There's a lot of options.
But I will always say, I'm going to push back on, don't just jump into it now. Do that homework first. So if it takes you a year to understand what you're doing and what you're getting into and why you're doing it,
have a plan.
We haven't had a home this whole time. A year won't kill you. You'll be fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Take the time.
Yeah, legit. So it's a lot of other things too that we can talk about as far as like assistance and program. We got to use that, right? Because either be grants or like free money or navigating certain things like the first time home buyers will win. I did a program with my people. I was saying again, like my mom's because I'm out of state. I live in Vermont, obviously, and she's in Detroit. So it's like I had to, in order for me to be able to do that and get the home, there was like a certain type of loan you can get where it's for folks who maybe won't be able to afford it. Not saying that she couldn't, but we navigated it that way. So that way I could get a lower percent, but also not have to be in the state to put her on. So it's like, but that came out of my lender. He's tough. Shout out to Mike. He was fire. But he let me know about that. I had no idea.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a bunch of different things, and sometimes these things are hard to navigate. Navigation is a problem. Like some people have people who do that for them. So I think there's an app that actually helps people to navigate and find loans. I can't remember the name of the app though, but it helps people find get connected to different loan types and grants and all that. So
I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah, it's tough.
I like that.
All right. So what else though? What else would you say about home own? You know people who own homes.
I do know people who own homes. I find, or I've learned that the people I have met that own homes have gotten guidance from the people who have raised them. And so they had a whole different level of understanding that came into it. So, but then watching how they, I think I knew one person who they would choose a project to fix up every year or every other year, because what they would do is save the money specifically for that and then get the deals and then add value to their home by fixing something or doing something. And I was always like,
that's smart.
Yeah. And I was like, that's a thing. And I didn't know nothing. I was very young at the time.
Yeah, I like that.
But okay. Oh, you want me to read this part too?
No. We're just going out there. Listen, somebody read this part.
Sometimes he'd be looking at me like, you gotta do something? You gotta help?
I think at the end of the day, really what we're saying is that we had to get down to it. And this is not, again, I think this is from us doing having done research and knowing folks and then lived experience. At the end of the day, it is the right thing. Home ownership from a community level, from an individual level, especially if folks can afford to do it and use the resources at hand, is a pathway to wealth and definitely generational wealth.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Ask questions, talk to people who own homes,
Yeah.
Learn what season we're in, because we were just in a seller's market heavy for a good amount of time, which would then be the time not to buy, I would say. You know, so keep up with the trends and understand what's going on.
Yeah, understand interest rates, work on your credit score, all those things matter. So listen, people might be listening right now thinking, what in the world are they talking about? Listen, y'all, we might be right.
We might be wrong.
At the end of the day, though,
we just young, black,
and
figuring it out.
Tough.
GC on the track, boy.